Aloha. Okay, it's the 2nd of June 2025. And let's see, news report right now. There's been a massacre delivering aid to starving refugees in Palestine, and total denial on one side, and a report of 200 people shot, 30 dead. Okay, well, our times. So it goes on. There will be more. Anyway, I am going to introduce you to the cell phone jail topic again, smartphone jail, because I didn't really get the inner whining right on the other video, and I need to do it again anyway. Meanwhile, I'm going to assert copyright notice here. So, copyright 2025, Benjamin Lipman, conditional permission to copy, share, and distribute. Permission is conditionally given to distribute per share-alike license, in other words, e.g. with full attribution. This permission is conditional, subject to change. No permission is given to modify this content. Mahalo. I do not give permission to apply my content or likeness in any form to any application involving artificial intelligence. Sometimes you just gotta say no, and I say no. Alright, so the cell phone jail basically uses the principle of dielectrics. And the deeper I go into 5G and Wi-Fi technology, and I believe some of the beam weapon stuff is actually in this 5-ish G range, and the dielectric technology seems to work there. It also seems to shut down smartphone transmissions, because the question is your smartphone spying on you? This is a smartphone that was stable in its battery. In other words, I would turn it off, and a couple hours later, or even a day later, I'd turn it back on and the battery would be the same level. Recently, my voicemail was cleared, started to work maybe, but anyway, something got into my cell phone, and now the battery isn't stable when it's off. So off apparently is no longer off. So I'm going to turn it off, or shut it down at least. So I have to do that. And two things. One thing is, I showed an inner lining with a Ziploc bag. Ziploc isn't thick enough plastic. You want a thicker bag, a 3mm trash bag material or something else. I somehow have this bag that's just got a really nice feel to it. So I'm folding it over, and you notice I'm making a slight angle here. This is the other learning. When you make your jail, you want it to come in and out really easily. And so I'm going to be wanting to make it long enough for this, and then I'm going to want to fold over a little bit. And so what I might want to do, I don't think I'm going to worry about this too much. Well, actually, sure. I have a pen over here. Well, so much for my pretty folded fabric. Who cares? Alright, so I'm going to mark how this comes in, and basically there's a little bit of friction on the case, so the fact that there's foil here just means my phone will be nice and there'll be plenty of room. So I'm wanting to cover here to foil, but actually I'm wanting to come more. Actually, for my fold over, what I want is a really good fold over, so I think I want foil all the way out to about there, maybe. In this range, at least. Okay, so I think I can go ahead and just trim this. So I'm going to try to do this nicely, because this is going to be an everyday thing. Yeah, finally had a phone that was not misbehaving, but the newer phones iPhone, probably 14, definitely 15 and after, Google phones, I think that they lie to you about the battery. You just can't trust it, unfortunately. Now, what I'm doing, I'm wanting to have, so this is here, the recipe, 3 layers of double heavy foil, and then in the dielectric I'm going to use plastic, but one of the layers of plastic I want a little gap. And the reason for that is just to have as much kind of variety in my millimeter zone. 5G is on the order of centimeters, but apparently if you get down into the millimeter zone, once you get quarter half wave, you get into special physics, basically. Alright, and we're just wanting to shut it down, so that's the game. And I might use some glue, just kind of ease into all of this. Okay, I want tape. Okay. Now it looks like if I fold this over, and I'm going to clip my foil like this. I'll use these 2 layers and that'll give me my double. And what I might do is try to make this kind of a production thing. So I'm wanting 3 of that. So while I've got the foil out, I'm just going to go ahead and... So we're still just building prototypes, but I've done enough now that if I know I follow the rules, and the rules are very simple, I want 3 separate conductive layers that are electrically isolated from each other, and that's the dielectric. And if I do that, I've tested it, it shuts the phone down. And that's it. I just want to know that if I'm on a romantic date with my honey or something, and I need to have the phone with me for security, but I don't want it listening to my romantic activities, whatever they are, suppose. Yeah, I want to have that option, right? Just a basic human rights situation. And that's the problem on our planet right now, is basic civil rights are not being respected. And I definitely consider it to be a problem. Problem is sort of almost, the Hawaiian word would be pilikia, but you've got all kinds of pilikia. But this one is a global mess. So what to do? If you do what I do, you might get the beam on you. But I already have the beam on me. I've been on the Trump administration shit list since the first administration. They told me they didn't want me going to the embassy in India, so I already know. And I'm probably not going to change anything, so I have nothing to lose here. And we'll see, yeah. I don't even know if Google/YouTube lets anyone see my videos that I post, because the numbers are clearly wrong. But yeah, no, if something comes to me, then maybe this video will go viral. Anything with a lock, normal key, pretty much, whether it's on a computer or actually physical lock on your house. Apparently there are people at this level, they can just get through anything. So you have to use other techniques. That'll be topic for another day. So what I'm doing is I'm just making up my phone gel here. may have outwitted myself a little bit here. Let's see. I have enough material. Alright. So what I'm going to do... I think I'm going to do it this way. What I've found, by the way, is that you may have seen in previous videos that I'm using a lot of glue, and that does kind of stabilize things. But what I've found is if there's much movement of the, we'll call this the device, like if I'm using it, building headgear to sleep in or something, the glue comes apart and dries out. So what I'm learning to do is actually just secure everything with just this heavy packing tape. So you'll see me do that at least on the top end of this bad boy. So here we are. Okay, double foil. And now I'm going to bring it into now what normally I might be worried about the foil contacting the foil all lining up, but what I'm going to do is put tape here. Alright, and I'm going to have a little bit of extra foil the way this design is going on the edges, but that's actually cool because I happen to know that the outline edge of the phone is where the antenna is. So if I have a little extra metal shutting that down, that's fine. So yeah, it's like, how do you deal with a collection of billionaire tech bros who want to monitor your every romantic moment or whatever? Okay, so what I've done is I've put foil, I've taped the edge, and now this is non-conductive, right? So if I lay foil on top of this, no problem. I'm going to end up with some extra pieces of tape probably. That's okay. And I don't need foil going deeper than my pocket. Alright. And what I'm seeing is I've got a little bit more than I need. So I'm going to just cut it off. Okay. I probably took 4 millimeters more than I really needed to. But I've got my pocket a little deeper than I need to, so I'm actually going to tape this up here to match. And just let the pocket kind of be a little bit bulked out, which that might be a design direction for another day. And now I'm going to fold the foil over. I'm going to pull my tape back and do a fold here, if it'll let me. Yeah, I was going to do this silently, but I think it's better that if anyone's seeing this and they're actually trying to do this, they have the commentary. Okay. And what I'm going to do, what I've learned also is check your work. So, okay, this one there is no tape. But I have this little scrap. So what's going to happen is I'm going to end up with this little extra plastic material. And that's fine. Okay, check the work. And it's going to fold over just great. And what I will do is I'll bring the foil in a little bit further up. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay in a thin layer of dielectric, and then the extra thick layer I'll do out as an outer layer, just as an idea. That might keep it more compact and easier to build. That's a speculation. Okay, so I'm taping the foil here so that I'm just making the whole thing pa, which wine workers strong. Because I've made devices that were good. The helmet, by the way, that I made in October when my computer was destroyed right before the election, I was scared. That ended up being a whole bunch of video segments, but that helmet is the one I wear to bed every night, actually. That's this one. Yeah, just exactly. I think I made it with a different liner. And I ended up folding this over. This is just like living with the prototype. It takes time to build this stuff up, right? And I'm a farmer. Yeah, but that basically does a lot for the beam that I'm in right now. I guess I'll just leave it on. Alright, and I'm looking here, and what I see is sort of an error. I have a little flap that could cause me trouble. So before I keep going, I'm going to drop in some tape. Because I'm looking for a function. Yeah, it's just in the corner. So I'm going to fold the tape and drop it in. Let's see how this beam isn't really so bad. I rate the beam from 0 to 5 is what I've personally experienced, not knowing where it was going to go. And I believe 5 on an extended basis could be lethal. But with protection, it's survivable. But that's like this with the dielectrics as well. And yeah, some nights I'm in full gear. So plastic. This is a 3 mil garbage bag, which is quite good. What we got? So this is what we're using. So you can get 2 mil garbage bag. You can get thinner, but I recommend for all of this dielectric you go ahead and get the 3 mil. That is 3/1000ths of an inch. 40/1000ths of an inch is 1 millimeter. But at least we're like, you know, it's gonna. You want to get up toward that gap of some sort. Just seems to work better. I have some field testing in all this, but I haven't done a lot. All I've done is make up some prototypes and be chased. That's all I know. Alright, and I'm wanting my gap. Here, I think I'm going to just... I know that 1 layer is adequate for my effect. If I wanted, I could do more, but I'm trying to make this compact. And so I'm just going to plan to fold this over and tape it somewhere in the middle, which means I'm going to cut it about here, and I'm going to cut this about, we'll just give some extra material. So I'm working fast, marking with scissors, but this is kind of unruly, squirmy stuff, so. I think this is a fine way. The trash bag cuts really nicely with a sharp blade, and actually the foil, if it's taut and flat like I had, a blade is pretty good. In fact, there's a little blade you can get that's designed for cutting, this is like for cutting paper, I guess, that works quite well, but I'm trying to minimize the complexity and the time. Alright, so that's the first one, and if I like this, I might just... Okay, I'm feeling, well, actually, I don't know what I'm doing, because my next layer is going to be thicker. Alright, so I'm looking for a straight edge. That's pretty good. That's okay, but not as good. Alright, I'm going to cover my foil. But I'm not really worried about, well, actually, what I'm going to do, I'm going to try to like whip this out. So I'm going to put this about half on the tape. And then just wrap the burrito. Wrap the burrito. I make the device. Okay, I wanted, fortunately, oh, see, this should just come up. I actually want less sticky tape exposed. So instead of half, I want maybe a third. Try not to get frustrated. You have to stay peaceful around sticky tape when you're doing this, because otherwise it's just not going to work. Okay, I said 1/3. Alright, so about a centimeter of sticky, which is just less than what's here, which is what I want. Great. And the tape is also dielectric substance, so that's fine. I have a little bit of foil sticking up here, but I'm actually going to cover that with this. I'm going to make sure I do. And this end is actually part of the wrap, so it's even not that critical. Yeah. The main thing is that I am electrically isolating my conductor. Right, this is just not, oh, it may be because of, well, I'm not sure why. What I'm wanting to do is make sure that I don't make the opening narrow in this process, which is really easy to do, I found. So I'm kind of overcorrecting a bit with this, it's fine. Alright, and I just don't want, I want a nice compact package. I guess in theory this could be like, I could go through airport security without this. This could be tucked away somewhere. And then, you know, when I get to where I need to go, I put it all back together. Whatever. Life on planet Earth, 2025. Never imagined. Alright, so basically I'm ending up with a nice band of tape. Okay, keep checking. So what I want is that it comes in and out real easy. So if this is inside a bag, I can kind of surreptitiously go, oh, Yeah, what were you saying? You're right, and then they don't hear what you're saying. Okay, they, over there. But it seems to be a thing, so. All right, foil. So I'm just making a fold, just kind of to tell me where to put glue, but also to make sure I get my efficient double layer. And here I've cut the foil already. I'm a little worried that my third layer may not be big enough. We will see. So I'm going to go ahead and glue the foil. What I've found is with these weapons, sometimes if it's, well, particularly if I'm wrapping a 5G router, if the foil is well glued, then after a while, because of the power that's involved, it actually seems to be welding the aluminum together. I mentioned that somewhere else, but it seems like they're scrambling up the videos, and if you're seeing this one, then you're seeing this one, and I'm going to drop in that little bit of detail just for entertainment. And what I found is that the glue is maybe less important than I had thought. And you want to do this, if you're using the tape to tie everything down. Now, here I'm wanting a little bit extra, so I'm going to give, I'm going to try for something over 1/2 centimeter. Yeah. So it's working that I have some lighting. And just to make sure, yeah, I'm planning to do this fold this way. Is there any merit to thinking about this, doing this a different way? Well, no, because I'm wanting to have that extra metal on the edges because of the way they are. Because of the way they are. So I'm guessing I've got about 6 millimeters of tape. And I'm going to bring this up and overlap. Just extend a little bit more. And this isn't rocket science, but the big learning is that I don't want to make my opening narrow as I close it all down. So you may find, if you're me, that you want to be overcorrecting on that a little bit. Now, from the last time, I remember it was useful to have the extra tape. So I'm leaving extra tape on the two ends here. Okay, and I've got more foil than I want. So I'm going to cut this now. Maybe it's like 8 millimeters or so. I'm trying to keep it straight. Let it come down. All right, now. There's no reason not to just fold this, the whole shebang, the tape, the foil, everything. And I'm wanting to keep it again open this side so that everything's going to rotate just a tiny bit here. Okay, so I'm going to have to put some tape on this end, obviously, if you see that. That's fine. I'm closing the package. Ditto. I'm going to rotate just a little bit. Again, I'm just making sure I'm not closing it, because that I don't want. I want easy in and easy out, right? Every day, quick, easy, simple thing. So, tape. And what I'm going to end up with here is reinforcing tape on the corners, which is fine. I don't want a lot of extra tape because I just want an easy fold that actually stays. Alright, so I think I can go ahead and close this and then I'll check my work. And I don't really need tape here. But I'll go ahead and bring it around so I don't have like something sticky sticking out. And I'm covering it all up, so I may have a little teeny gap there, I'm not worried. Alright, check the work. So then this isn't the smallest phone, but with the foil on the ends, I don't know, some other phone would probably fit in there, which would be great. Okay, yes, like a lot of things, this accessory may outlive the actual devices. Okay, it's wanting to spring out, but that's okay if I put it in a bag. But I'm going to keep this extra flap to just make sure it tucks in. But basically I want a good fold to close. That's kind of important. It has to pinch close, right? No air gaps, no ways for those little waves to get through. Alright. Because this will be a wave guide as well, right? So I have to close it down. Mostly, I think the microwave, it's point to point, but there's reflections, it's complex, and the technology, I'm sure, is way more complicated than I will ever understand. But I'm just making kitchen table solution to part of modern life that is so annoying. Alright, so what I've got is this amazingly perfectly sized. This is, what is this? This is drawer liner for your kitchen. Like you make this, put this for your silverware. You have a little scrap. Well, I have a use for that scrap today. All right. Now we've got foil. I've got tape. I think what I'm going to do, I only have tape like there. I'm going to put tape on the edges so that I'm non-conductive to reinforce, because I'm going to have kind of a little possible gap, so then I'll have at least 2 layers of tape here. And that whole thing will give me gap, and then also non-conduction, which I want. And strength of the jail. So here just sort of as I'm working, I'm making the corner strong, which is good because if I was traveling with this and had to take it in and out of a bag, I want it strong and durable. And I have this way of doing ends that I like. Or you just clip and fold. It works. Okay. Yeah, you'll be doing your own experiments. And what you can do actually is be running the phone, like, with Spotify or something, and then drop it in here. And as soon as the signal cuts out, it'll remember for a little while, and then it'll turn off. And if you know, as they say, if you know, you know. If you know, you know. Alright, so here again, less than a centimeter. And for you youngins out there, you want to learn metric if you're talking English units. If you live in metric, you don't need to learn metric. You don't need to learn the English unless you're going to travel to America, which I think right now a lot of people are probably choosing not to do. Can't blame you. Actually, out here in Hawaii, we refer to the continent as America. I'm not going to America anytime soon. Alright, so this is great. I am going to be needing to cut this, and I'm measuring this. What I see is that, well, actually, normally I'd be using the bubbles, but now I'm going to just mark where the foil ends. And this is all going to be covered up, probably. I don't care. I'm going to leave the line. So in carpentry, we make a line, and then we make some note about, do you cut the line, take the line, do you leave the line, or whatever. Alright, here we are. Alright, and I'm going to, like, if this gets bumped out, doesn't matter. It looks like I want to take the line. I'm taking the line. I realize we didn't open, I don't think we opened with the basic prayers, so we will close with them. Try to just get this in. Yeah, I just happened needing to make this, so I'm making the video. See where it all goes. Yeah, I'm guessing 7 millimeters of tape there. Snugging it up, because I might as well. I don't need to make this device any bigger than it needs to be, right? Because the more compact it is, okay, the tape actually went this way, but my constraint isn't this layer, so I don't need to worry. Okay. It just kind of wants to fold that way. It's okay. Alright, and then I'm going to close this up very carefully because I really want my insulator, and I want the gap. So I'm just going to close it real tight. Make sure I get my insulator. Okay, now I'm ending up with a little bit extra there, which I'm not thrilled about. And so actually, what am I going to do? I'm going to do a little trim, I think. Because I want this to come in and out of a case, and I don't need that extra corner. So I'm going to try and make it fairly straight. Alright, hopefully I haven't screwed this up, but I don't think so. I'm going to push the foil in a little bit. There. Now. And so I'm, again, tight. And I wasn't as careful as I could have been up here with the tape, so I have to trim. Alright. Yeah, and again, if you're using this, you might get some attention. But then once a lot of people are using this, then it's like, well, then it's a thing. Because everyone knows about the phones now. That's just not a secret anymore. Okay, I'm pushing this down so I can close this up nice and tight, and it'll bunch up. Okay, I think that's fine. Alright, this time I'm going to line up the top nicely. I'm adhering really well to one side, and then I'm pushing my package in and wrapping. I'm really working to make sure that my insulator is fully active. Okay, and I'm okay with, though I don't need that much tape. A bunch of layers of tape is going to change the way this thing feels and works. Basically it's just how it comes in and out of a bag, basically. And this kitchen liner is particularly unsticky. I can feel it's like the tape isn't sticking as well to it. So that means it might make, and I actually had the idea of having it as my inner liner, but it isn't a bag shape. And so now I've got, I think, a fairly durable plastic. It had kind of a special feel to it. Pretty happy. So we're already really in the game. Now, this is kind of fighting me a little bit, but that's okay. I think it'll wear in over time. But for interest now, I might just wail on it a little bit before I do my last layer of foil and my outer covering. And I'll go both ways. Alright, now plenty. The foil isn't so great here. I'm going to be cutting this off, so I'm going to work on nice alignment on this end. I'm going to just drop some glue in and then clean up my foil. Yeah, am I crazy? Has the world gotten a little bit crazy? Yes, the world has gotten so crazy that we wonder if we are actually sane. So what we have to do is stay sane. And Hari Om Tat Sat. We have to be with God and meet the truth. And then all is well. Well, can't say all is well, but we're with God and we've met the truth. Wherever it goes. Alright, so I've got my 2 layers of heavy foil, and I'm trimming this so a nice clean edge. But I'm not taking too much because I want some on the other side, which I will be trimming. Alright, now I'm going to take my foil up kind of a little further. So it's going to be like 4 or 5 millimeters of tape is what I'm thinking. Alright, that's 4. Okay, and I'm locking it in, folding it over. You know, that's just fine, just as it is. So, we're closing up. So, what I want is a conductor that completely surrounds the phone, each layer. And when I drop the tape for this layer, I'm actually going to let the tape pick up some of the edge, just for strength. And then I've got all this extra. So I'm going to clip here. And, let's see. Yeah, I'll double it up. So now it's just going to be strong. I use a technique like this when I tape shipping boxes from Hawaii, to or from Hawaii to the mainland. You have to tape every edge or the box will explode. But if you tape every edge, it makes it. Yeah, USPS is actually very cost-effective shipping over such a long distance. Okay, so clipping there, folding back over. So I'm just basically making this strong. Alright, so I'm basically two-function, but what I want to do, I want to protect this layer of foil with something. And I sort of recall, let's see if I have it. Yes. So this is another liner for a drawer, and it's pretty. So I'm going to use it. And I'm not going to worry about glue or anything. I'm just going to make it pretty. And it's not going to be perfect because there's going to be some tape in here, but actually, all right, it's fine. Okay, and I think I'll go ahead and let it overlap a little bit because it'll be pretty. But I don't need this much, so here we go. I don't want to bulk it out too much either, so I'm not sure what I'm doing on this end. I'm just closing here. Now, okay, so this is coming in and out, so I'm going to go ahead and let it fold over, and then if I don't like it, I can change it. Okay, and almost there. So I'm just doing half, folding this up, folding it over. Okay, now I've got these little bits of tape, so I'm going to go ahead and make sure I've got full wrap here. And if I wanted to, I'm going to put some tape there. Alright, and alright, I'll just make the corner strong while I know it. Alright, done. Cell phone. Jail, and fingers crossed, but this is a bag I'm hoping it'll work with. I could do it this way, but I'm wanting basically to be able to pull the thread in and out. Okay. So, there we are. Without too much difficulties. Alright, it's not totally surreptitious, but it's going to be fine. It is what it is what I'll say. Maybe I need a different bag, a deeper bag, because you can see. Right? But it does fit, so if I'm on the road, the phone is off, I'm thinking, and there it is. Okay, so I may actually want to put a band on this, I'm seeing. So I'm just kind of learning as I go. This ended up being a little stiff. But I think in time it's going to get used to having the fold there. And I think in another iteration what I might do is actually put a stiffener in here just to kind of reinforce that fold. So we're learning. Okay. Aloha Ke Akua, Aloha Aina, Malama Pono, Amene, Hariom, Tat, Sat. Alright, be safe, joyful, and yeah, we're in kind of a tough moment as humanity with our technology and greed issues. But if we hold the faith, take care of each other, love each other, and even love the people who are confused, lies are poison, we'll all learn what that means and fix it. Yeah, just respect those who speak the truth, love them as much as you can, support companies that are in integrity, and we will, that's what will go forward ultimately, right? Alright, Aloha Ke Akua, Aloha Aina, Malama Pono, Amene. So, again, I'm asserting copyright. And then, I don't know if this is going to work, but right now I've got 2 channels, and that's how, if you can or want to, take the risk of getting tracked doing it, you can try to send me money. We'll see what happens. I don't think I'm not encouraging that, but I have to put it out there. Okay, yeah, once there are enough of us, it will matter. Aloha.